Conference title contender loses another starter to foot surgery. Which team is most likely to set a franchise record for regular season wins? And is there a path for Chet Holmgren to get his first All-Star appearance? That's all today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets, and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He is a senior NBA writer for the Action Network, Matt Moore. Matt?
I keep finding new ways that Cam Thomas is actually pretty good. Like, I was looking at numbers this morning and going over some film, and just like, he's a really good passer. Cam Thomas is just really good. The Nets should not be screwing with him. They just should not be screwing around with Cam Thomas. I'm at the point of being like, somebody should go get him because Cam Thomas is that good. He's so much better than Anthony Simons. Cam Thomas, better than Anthony Simons. That's my take for the day.
I like the image of Matt Moore walking around his house, looking under the couch cushions, around the chair, and just finding Cam Thomas nuggets all through his house. And then
all throughout the house.
Spewing them at his family members as they go, we don't care. We just simply don't care. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Hayes.
Yeah, I'm glad that like Matt's finding stuff in like Anthony Simons. I spent the early part of the day doing a deep dive on why the Thunder may not keep Isaiah Hartenstein at the end of his contract and why the Bulls should be waiting. So there you go on that one.
Ooh, I like that. Was that for Bleacher Report? Where can we find that?
Yeah, I haven't released it yet. It is going to be for Bleacher Report. It should be out on Friday.
Okay, stay tuned for that. We shift gears to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is from ESPN. Cleveland Cavaliers guard Max Strus underwent surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his left foot and will miss around 3 to 4 months. The team announced on Tuesday Strus suffered the injury, a break of the bone that connects the pinky toe to the base of the foot. Ouch. During recent offseason workouts, the Cavs said he's expected to return to basketball activities in 3 to 4 months. The question is, should Cavs fans be freaking out right now? Let's hear from Danny Cunningham of Locked On Cavs.
I saw on the internet on Tuesday a lot of people freaking out. Listen, this is an injury. It sucks that it happens, but I think if you are the Cavs, if you are Max, if you're everybody involved here, you would prefer that this happened now as opposed to this happened in February. I don't think it's something that should affect how we look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that as of right now, this injury does not change what their goals should be. This injury does not change what their expectations should be. The Cavs started last season without Max Strus. Remember, he didn't play a game until December 20th. That was his first game that he played last year. I believe it came against the Milwaukee Bucks. And you might remember that the Cleveland Cavaliers were pretty good in that time. They were 23-4 in the 27 games that Max Strus missed to begin the season. So they had a net rating of plus 7.8 when Max Strus played on the floor for them. When Max Strus was not on the floor, the Cavaliers were plus 10.8 per 100 possessions. There's an argument to be made that they have other ways they can attack teams and that they can be just as, if not more effective when they don't have Max. And I think if you want to look at the bright side, that is certainly part of it.
I guess it's the bright side unless you're Max Strus. Who needs you? Sounds like a little Strus-Ewing theory there from Danny Cunningham. Matt, does this injury change how you look at the Cavaliers this season, or have you been soothed by Danny's stats?
I like to cook a lot, and there's a lot of times that recipes will suggest using something in recipes, whether it's parsley or some other type of like really tertiary spice. Like, oh, you need
saffron.
this.
I hate when I see saffron, and I immediately throw the recipe away.
Like, do you really? But here's like saffron. At least, like, I have dishes where it's like if you don't have saffron, you're screwed. Like, Dean Wade is saffron. But like, is anybody ever like, man, what this dish needed was more Max Strus? Like, is anybody really ever like that? Like, totally fine player, a little overpaid, coming off of the Heat thing. I just have never been like, oh man, thank God for Max Strus. There's like a couple of games where I think he's been that kind of a guy. My bigger concern here, like honestly, Craig Porter Jr., good. Craig Porter Jr., very good. Like didn't play enough last season. He's at the end of the bench. Guy shot 44% from three, 68% at the rim last season. He can play more at guard. The cluster nature of this, where it's like, hey, if Darius Garland doesn't like snap back in November, and it takes him until December, and you're without Strus, now it's like, all right, you're getting a little thin here, and that means more Donovan Mitchell, which wears him down and increases his rate of injury. So there's problems here, but I largely think that they're fine. I am a little bit worried, though, because this just means that Atkinson's going to want to play Sam Merrill, who he has an unhealthy obsession with, a lot more. So if you're looking for fantasy guys, go shopping for Sam Merrill right now. I think it could impact them early in the season, Hayes, but long-term, I think they're fine.
All that just told me is that I'm on this show with two people who have very underdeveloped palates, and I'm very disappointed in both of you guys. In your cooking, I'm just very no, I'm just playing. No, it's not a big deal.
How dare you, sir?
I'm just playing.
When it comes to saffron, I have an underdeveloped wallet. I'm not going out and paying a bunch of money.
That's true.
Saffron.
Expensive.
Fair enough. But no, I don't think this is a big deal. Like, not to say that Max Strus can't play a big role for that Cleveland Cavaliers team. He can, and I think he will. But you know, this team should be good enough and deep enough to where they should be able to weather the storm without having Max Strus there for a little bit. The key thing for everything on this Cavs team with Lonzo and Max and everybody else is that you need everybody fully healthy by the playoffs. I think that's what we saw in the playoffs that this team struggled with last season. And so because of it, not to say that the regular season doesn't matter, because it absolutely does, because I do think they're gonna be some matchups that, you know, of course, can work out better for the Cavs, and they want home court advantage. But I think they have enough on this team, as long as Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, as long as those guys can stay healthy the majority of the season, especially to start off with, I think the Cavs are going to be perfectly fine next season.
Look, I know we should talk more about the Cavs. It's just like, now I'm just thinking about saffron, and like, isn't Jonathan Kuminga kind of saffron? You're going to wind up paying too much for it, and you can only make like 6 things with it.
Yeah, but and also like Dean Wade is also like chicken broth when you have chicken bouillon. You're perfectly fine with that.
That's true.
No, well, unless it's better than bouillon.
You were supposed to disagree with me. I only said that so you could disagree.
No, I agree. I think get by with it.
Well, so does that make Donovan Mitchell salt? Like he is the essential ingredient to the whole concoction? Is that? And then what is Evan Mobley? If he is salt, if Donovan is salt, then what is Evan Mobley? Is he pepper?
Salt and pepper.
Pepper.
Okay.
We figured it out, folks. Should mention here that Darius Garland, I don't know what spice he is, but he also had a foot procedure, a toe procedure to repair something going on there. So I think he's going to miss training camp, but he should be back by the regular season. But they're certainly already dealing with a few injuries. Danny doesn't think this should change how you look at the Cavs this season, which begs the question for me, how do you look at the Cavs, Hayes? Are they in your bucket of teams that could lift the trophy at the end of the season, or are you waiting to see something other than health? Are you waiting to see something from this team that proves that they are more than just a regular season darling, which is essentially what they were last season?
No, I think that with health, I think that they can be a team that has a chance to win the title. I mean, I'm not going to pick them over my Houston Rockets or the OKC Thunder. The Houston Rockets, I'll pick them over the Rockets. I'm just front running there. No, the Cavs could definitely win a title this year. Health is one of the most important things. I do think that they got an important piece defensively that can play the in between Garland and Donovan there in Lonzo, but you need him to be healthy too. So health is one of the most important things I think that I'm looking at for the Cavs to be able to win the title this year.
So, I think that they should be in a class by themselves. Like, I don't a lot of the conversation about the Eastern Conference is like, well, it's the Cavs and the Knicks. And I'm like, do the Knicks really belong? I know they made the conference finals. They really belong there? Like, the Cavs won 64 games. Like, the Cavs have the best offense in the league. Like, the Cavs have Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year. Like, the Cavs have, like, they check all the boxes. The Knicks are just like, they're from New York, and they were in the conference finals before getting embarrassed again by the Pacers. I'm a little worried after this news because, like, this moves me like a DEFCON 4. I am always looking for, I do believe the same kind of patterns repeat over and over again in history. Like, teams have similar seasons. When you have these two types of injuries, I'm immediately like, oh God, is this going to be the year from hell where it's like, hey, Garland's hurt, no problem. He'll be back by November. Well, okay, it's going to take a little longer. His recovery's going a little slow, but it'll be fine. Oh, Max Strus is out. Okay, not great. And then if it's like, oh, Donovan Mitchell sprained an ankle. Oh, there's Evan Mobley for 3 weeks. Like, if you have one of those years, it's going to be just an absolute disaster, and they can still be in position to make a run by the end of it. But a deep run last year, after winning all those games, now coming in with all these injuries, there's a cumulative effect when you have these early injuries that catches up with you later. Like, you heard Danny be like, well, you'd rather have this happen now than in February. I'm not sure, because I've seen a lot of teams have to burn energy. They have to burn those tanks early in the season just to stay up. And then later it catches up with them, because guys that shouldn't be playing that many minutes play a lot, and that gasses them out by the end of the season. So, like, I've ticked down from a DEFCON 5 to a DEFCON 4 with Cleveland, just like a slight level of concern.
All right, great points by both of you. Let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. Coming up, we're talking franchise win records. Could the Nuggets set their record for franchise wins in a season? The Oklahoma City Thunder, they did last season, but can Chet Holmgren get his first All-Star bid? We'll hear from Locked On Thunder as well. Coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even know what they're worth, whether it's your 401k, your properties, your investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving a lot of money on the table. And folks, that's not where you want your money. You don't want it on the table. You want it in your pocket. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes. You can see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Monarch makes it simple and easy to review my finances with my partner. We can both see all of the budgets, all of the goals, all the spending activity in one place. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. We talked about the Cavaliers in the last segment. They set all kinds of franchise regular season streak records, but they fell 2 games short of the win total record for a season. Locked On Nuggets wondered in a recent episode if this could be the year Denver sets a franchise record in regular season wins. Matt, you and your co-host did something reserved for only the sickest of sports podcasters. You went through every game on the schedule and gave the Nuggets a win or a loss. Tell us, where did you end up? Did the Nuggets set the record in your fantasy schedule game?
It was actually a remarkably fun episode. Like, we're thinking about other ways to do this kind of an exercise. It was remarkably great, given what we kind of thought about. I also have to admit, I stole this from Locked On Celtics. John Corrales, Jay King, and the crew used to do this over at LO Celtics, and I really liked it. So I went ahead and stole it for Locked On Nuggets. So I always kind of, I poke fun at our host because they're always overly optimistic. And I'm like, of course you think that they're going to do this. Of course you think this is going to be the best year ever. Of course you think that Max Strus being injured is going to be fine. And then I went and we had the Nuggets winning the most games in franchise history when we did this, and gave them if they win the 2 games, which we do not have scheduled because they are during in-season tournament makeup week. Based off of that, if they win those games, assuming they do not make the tournament, they end up with 58 wins. The NBA Denver Nuggets franchise record by 1 win. Now that's with complete health. We also factored in a number of things. A lot of things we looked at were not just how good the opponent is, but we looked at what's the rest situation for both Denver and the opponent. It is a surprisingly good exercise if you are serious about your team to go through, because, for instance, my co-host Ryan Blackburn was, how can I put this? A whiny little child about the schedule until we went through the schedule, and it was like, oh, the Nuggets are on a 3-4, but they're facing a team on a 3-4 back-to-back. Oh, Denver's on a back-to-back. Oh no, but they're facing a team that's on a 5-7 in altitude. So there's a lot of ways that the schedule actually winds up being like, oh, that's not that bad when you go through the schedule. But yes, we did in fact give them 58 wins.
That shocked me that Denver had never had a 60-win season. One of only several teams not to have one. Charlotte, Brooklyn. I'm looking down the list here. The Clippers, Minnesota has never had one. New Orleans, that's not surprising. Toronto, Washington have never had a 60-win season. Hayes, I gave you the list of the franchise win records for every team. As you look at that list, who do you think is most likely to do what OKC did this past season, which is beat their franchise record for wins? And why do you think that team is poised to do so?
Man.
You know who you want to say?
Who do I want to say, Matt? The Houston Rockets? Absolutely. Yeah. Come on.
That's 65. That's a tall. It's a 65 wins in 17-18.
65 wins in 2018.
That's a tall order.
Yeah, they had over 50 last year. They added Kevin Durant. Their scoring was questionable. They could take a step up. But that's the thing, that like how far would that put them above the OKC Thunder? You know what? Because I am willing to go all in on my bets this year, and I'm very high on the Houston Rockets. I will say the Houston Rockets this year. I say they do it this year.
Matt, what do you think?
Nobody sets the record this year.
Nobody
gets it done. Because like you have to kind of find, you're looking for a team that hasn't won that many, right? And like look at that list that Doug kind of gave out. Like, are the Charlotte Hornets going to win 60 games? No. Are the Washington Wizards going to win 60 games? No. Like
not this year.
Not
2
this
years from now.
Not 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. 6 seasons in a movie. Actually, here's one. Because I gotta look up and see what the number is. Because I imagine there's probably a really high number. Yeah, here's it, Doug. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. Their record is 57 in 2014. They can eclipse that this year. If Kawhi decides to play basketball, by the way, he was seen saying that when he shoots a jumper and he knows that it's going in, he says wet ball.
I know.
It's just a thing.
Wait, what?
He says wet ball.
Wet ball.
Wet ball.
Yeah.
I wonder how loudly he says that. Do other players know, or does he say it under his breath? Does he go wet ball? Or does he go
wet ball?
I would love if he screamed it and it showed up on a microphone. That'd be great.
Yeah. Wet ball, Apple time, Boardman gets paid. But yeah, Clippers, I think, is an excellent kind of example. They've got enough redundancy here. They've got an outside shot. If they get schedule and health luck, which is a lot considering the age of this team, they can pull off 58 wins.
I was thinking the Clippers as well, but for the reasons you mentioned there that you might doubt it, being that some of these older veterans may decide not to play, I think that could hold them back. I would give a couple of other teams to look out for. Minnesota, with only 58 wins, they do have a younger team and a hungry team, considering what happened last season. I think they could go for it, and you're getting a little bit more continuity there. I'll throw another one out there that's a 50-win team. Memphis with 56 wins in 21-22 and 12-13. I think if Ja Morant stays healthy, that starting lineup, we heard the argument from Locked On Grizzlies to Michael Cole that this could be one of the best starting lineups in the league next season. And the stats, honestly, back it up even if you take out Desmond Bane's influence. So I would look at Memphis too at 56 wins as a possibility. Maybe the Knicks only have 60, by the way, 92-93 and 69-70. They only have 60 wins. That could be another one to look at.
The Knicks are going to be a really good regular season team. And I agree with Matt in the sense that, like, I don't put them up there with the Cavs as far as, like, where I think they can go in the postseason. But they are going to be a very, very good regular season team. So that could be a possibility for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to win, this is one of the funny things is we tend to equate, like, how good are you with how many wins you get in the regular season. And I'm not saying that there's no correlation. There's obviously correlation. But you can gamify the regular season and kind of tweak your way into a really high win total. Like, it's the three factors I'm always looking for are home games, teams that are under 500, and division games. If you face a weak division, which the Atlantic, kind of middle of the road, you take care of business at home and you beat the teams that you should. Like, if you just win the games that you should, If you just bring it on those games, you can get yourself 50 wins at least, and then the jump from there to 60 is possible.
So I told you both before the show that I was this show was in danger of me dragging it down a rabbit hole, because in doing research for this segment, I was looking at the Denver Nuggets history, and because I was looking at all the teams' win total history on Basketball Reference, and I noticed that Denver came into the league in the mid 70s and began their first season in the NBA. They dropped a 50-win season, and so I did the research, and it's like, oh yeah, they came over from the ABA. So they had an established team with David Thompson, sophomore season, David Thompson. So Paul Silas on that team as well, the great Charlotte Hornets coach. So good players on that team. So that made sense. But then I tripped and fell into a Wikipedia hole and discovered that the Denver Nuggets were also a team in the founding of the NBA. The first season, 49-50, the Denver Nuggets came in. That season, they only won 11 games and were so miserable that they folded. Went away completely. Wow. How about that?
Yeah, it's that 2023 title was a long time coming with a lot of twists and turns in the road. Who was the coach for the Nuggets in their first season in the NBA, Doug?
Larry Brown.
That's right. Another Charlotte Hornets legend. So
a UNC legend for sure. I don't know, Charlotte ABA legend, Charlotte Cougars legend.
Charlotte ABA legend.
So do you know the name of the Denver team, the original name of the Denver team before they entered the NBA in 49-50? You shouldn't know this. They were the Safeway Pigs, and then they became the Safeway Piggly Wigglies, and then they became the Ambrose Jelly Makers, and then they became the Denver Nuggets in 49-50.
Wow.
The Safeway Piggly Wigglies. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. By the way, Piggly Wiggly, the first real kind of mass market superstore, general goods store in the U.S. that predated Walmart, came from the same place, Northwest Arkansas, and then was replaced by Walmart. By the way, and Walmart, the heir of Walmart is married to the owner of the Denver Nuggets. And now you know the rest of the story.
Hayes, any fun facts? Any fun facts about the Chicago Bulls? We did do a recurring bit on the show earlier this year about Chicago Bulls getting eliminated from the playoffs in like the 60s, and I would quiz you on that. Do you have any Chicago Bulls fun facts for us?
No, nothing comes to mind. Not any deep cuts like you guys just dived out about the dang Denver Nuggets. Nothing like that.
All right, their franchise win total, by the way, I don't know if you know this, 72 wins.
If people didn't know that, we have some concerns.
All right. Coming up on the Locked On NBA podcast, did you know this? Chet Holmgren still has not made an All-Star game. The Locked On Nuggets podcast discussed the two things that Chet Holmgren needs to do to get back on his All-Star track. That's coming up. Plus, our Tournament of Moves continues. The final four matchup to determine who's going to this championship game. That's all coming up. Locked On NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they set their franchise record for wins last season, and if they want to top that, having Chet Holmgren play at an All-Star level would certainly help. Let's go to Locked On Thunder, who discussed his All-Star candidacy today on their show.
We get back on track to Chet being an All-Star level player. And to me, it starts with the three-point shot, which he's obviously working on, something that he knows he needs to be better at. I think the volume is the thing that really needs to change. He just has to take more threes. I think that when he takes more threes, the offense overall is just more effective. And then two, I think, can he catch the ball at the elbow and have a no dribble move? I think that's another thing that he needs to develop. It's just something where he consistently gets to it. I think the most consistent move that he probably has is the spin move that he has going toward the hoop. It's not one that you can pull off at every second of the game or when the ball is just thrown to you in a pinch. If he could have a move or have a shot like Dirk or KG, because I think he's in the class of big like those guys that are like high level. If everything works out for Chet, he's going to be in the same class as like a Kevin Garnett in my mind.
All right, let's talk about what his path looks like. By the way, signature moves, perfect for this segment. We'll be doing tourney of moves here in just a second. But Matt, what does his path look like? And if he's not in the running for an all-star bid, if he's not playing at an all-star level, do you start to worry about OKC's potential for repeating this season?
No, I mean, look, I think they showed last year, like all they need is what Chet brings. Chet is great as a threat. He's great as a threat at shot blocking. He's great as a threat on the perimeter. When they tried putting Nikola Jokic on him on the perimeter, dared him to shoot, he just drove right past him and dunked on him. He's got that capacity to be able to make enough plays. Like Chet had some really huge moments throughout the playoffs. Like he really did. He had some sequences, but the overall numbers, he's not going to have a dominant game because you've got Shea, who's going to have a high level of usage. You've got J-Dub, who's probably going to take an even higher level of usage than he did last season. And then Chet's going to have to kind of fill in. Like this is going to have to be Chet's role until either J-Dub moves on or Chet moves on. Like there's just not enough for him to be this mega star type of guy. You look back and it's like, look, Draymond was able to fill in as that third guy and reach all-star level because he was that level of defender, which Chet is, but he was also like the team's best passer. Like he led the Warriors in assists. He had something to his offensive game that was his. There's not going to be anything to Chet's that's just his. And even though like Rudy Gobert has made it, it's just different with centers. And Chet's more of a power forward. I am skeptical, Hayes, that he's going to be able to reach an all-star level.
Yeah, Chet is important, and I love what you said is just the threat of Chet and what he brings out there on the field, on the court for the OKC Thunder. But I do think that you have Chet playing at an all-star level. This is a team that we already know, and we've seen what they can do. To take it from a championship contender, we're going to talk about three-peats coming for the OKC Thunder. You need Chet to be locked in, and I think his trajectory is really good. He has to stay healthy, though. Like Chet still – He still has problems with staying healthy. He still has a problem guarding stronger players, and these are things that I want to see him increasing in his game. I saw a workout video of him bench pressing, and listen, my 19-year-old son bench presses almost as much as Chet, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But overall, I think Chet is going to be an amazing player here for the Thunder, and if you can get him consistently playing at an all-star level, the sky's the limit for the Thunder, which the sky may be the limit for them regardless with all the talent they have there.
A number of players will be looking for their first all-star bid, so I thought we'd do a little rapid fire. Who gets there first? Let's start with Chet Holmgren or Amin Thompson. Hayes, kick us off since you are the Rockets aficionado.
Chet. I'll still say Chet. Chet gets there before Amin gets there.
Matt?
I think it's Amin. I think Amin definitely gets there first. He's more of a playmaker. He's going to have a much bigger role. What I think is going to be interesting this season is watching, like, who's going to be the second guy with Durant? Is it going to be Şengün or is it going to be Amin? And you're like, well, Şengün's way ahead of him. I agree. But how this team operates is going to be different. Like, does the ball just wind up in guards' hands more than it does the center? How much does KD trust Alperen versus Amin? I think all these things are interesting questions. So, but I think it's going to be Amin. I legitimately think Amin's going to be the Rockets' best player in 3 years.
It's a huge question. Did the offense run through Şengün sometimes because it had to, or because that was their best option and will continue to be their best option? All right, Chet or Franz Wagner, who gets there first, Matt?
Franz Wagner. I think Wagner's got the capacity. That three-point shot comes along. Franz got everything else, man. He's such a good playmaker. The secret is kind of like Franz is probably their best player. Like, I think Paolo is excellent and has the capacity to be like a top-level guy, but Franz's game is way more complete and way more efficient. His decision-making is better. He just needs a three-point shot. If Franz Wagner's three-point shot shows up this season, with Bane kind of spreading the floor and giving him more space to operate, Franz Wagner is going to be an all-star this season.
Hayes.
Yeah, I'll agree with Matt there. I think Franz is ready to make that step. I think them adding shooting, adding some space, and staying healthy. So if he can stay healthy this year, I do think he's an all-star this year as well. Yeah, I'll agree. Franz before Chet.
All right, last one. Chet Holmgren or the number one overall pick in this past draft, Cooper Flagg. Who gets there first? Hayes.
I think the hype around Cooper, man. I'll say Chet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Cooper Flagg.
I'm opting for C. Other Denny Avdia, Jalen Johnson, Tamani Camara, Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Okongwu. I just named 3 Hawks, by the way, because I do think that there's an opportunity for the Hawks to get a guy in because of the Eastern Conference. Keegan Murray. There's a lot of guys I could see getting into an all-star spot before either one of those dudes.
The last rookie to make an all-star game. Anyone know? Kind of a
LeBron?
cheater answer.
LeBron?
Blake Griffin in 2010, 2011. Again, a little cheater answer because, like Chet, he spent a year on the injured list. Yao Ming before him in 02-03. Tim Duncan before him in 1997-98. So we'll see if Cooper Flagg can do it. All right, let's move on to our tournament of moves. It is our Final Four matchup, and it is between the number 1 seed, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and his skyhook versus Dirk's one-legged shot. The YouTube vote is in, and it is 64-34 in favor of the skyhook. So skyhook gets a vote versus Dirk's one-legged shot. Matt, you've been a little anti-skyhook this whole tournament, so I feel like since skyhook got the YouTube vote, I'll go to you to see if we can turn this into a tie. Are you willing to put Dirk over on Kareem?
No. Based on poor decisions by my co-host, we wound up with this matchup, which leaves us with a very underwhelming, in my opinion, Final Four.
Which one? Which co-host?
It's Kareem Skyhook is going to take it here. Dirk's shot was iconic, but you just can't argue with the overall track record of the Skyhook. It's got too much going for it. I still think it should have lost several times throughout this tournament, but it does beat Dirk's one-legged shot. So the Skyhook regrettably, predictably advances to the final. Boo. Boring. Chalk. Because of you, Hayes.
You can blame me for the right move going forward all day long. I'll take it. The Skyhook definitely should win this one. No disrespect for Dirk and the one-legged shot, but the Skyhook is iconic for a reason, the same reason I laid out in the last matchup and why I picked it. So I'm happy the Skyhook is moving on here.
Yeah, I'm glad that Dirk made this a game, getting to 34% on the Skyhook. I think that's the highest percentage in the YouTube vote that has gone against Kareem Skyhook in this tournament so far. I think this comes down to branding. I thought the whole time I've been complaining about this. This is not Dirk's fault. The move is solid, and I think the move itself is in line with the Skyhook. This is the fault of Dallas media circa the mid-2000s not giving this move some better love in terms of a nickname. If this thing had a super cool nickname, I think Dirk's move might have gone on. And I called that the Final Four matchup. It is not. This is the first of the Final Four matchups. We've got one coming tomorrow, and then we'll talk about the championship on Friday. So you can still vote in the other matchup, which is Hakeem's Dream Shake versus MJ's Post Fadeaway. Go to youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. Head over to the post section, and the poll is up now. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Is Hakeem going to move on, or is it going to be MJ? If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Hayes for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. Until next time, be kind to each other, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more Locked On NBA.